Have you ever looked at a map and noticed those tiny specks of land in the middle of the ocean, or those shadowed corners of ancient cities, and wondered why nobody is allowed to go there? There is something deeply hardwired into the human brain that makes us crave the forbiddance. It is a strange mix of fear and fascination. When we hear that a place is off limits, our heart rate speeds up, and our imagination begins to fill in the blanks. Scientists call this the fear of the unknown, but it is also one of the greatest drivers of human curiosity. In your brain, a tiny structure called the amygdala is constantly scanning for threats, while your frontal cortex is trying to solve the mystery. This internal tug-of-war is exactly why stories of forbidden islands and haunted ruins have persisted for centuries. Today we are going on a journey through the most restricted and eerie places on the planet, from islands filled with deadly predators to historical sites that carry the weight of tragic legends. Let us start with the places where nature or human history has put up a giant "Do Not Enter" sign. Deep in the Bay of Bengal lies North Sentinel Island. It looks like a tropical paradise from above, but it is one of the most restricted places on Earth. The indigenous Sentinelese people have lived there for tens of thousands of years, and they have made it very clear that they want absolutely nothing to do with the outside world. They reject all contact, often defending their shores with bows and arrows. Because of this, the Indian government has strictly forbidden anyone from approaching within 5 miles of the island. It is a rare case where isolation has preserved an ancient culture entirely untouched by modern civilization. Then we have places where the danger is not people, but the environment itself. Ilha de Queimada Grande, better known as Snake Island, sits off the coast of Brazil. It looks beautiful, but it is home to thousands of golden lancehead vipers. These snakes are so venomous that their toxins can actually melt human flesh. There are so many of them that legends say there is one snake for every square meter of land. The Brazilian Navy keeps the island closed to the public to protect both the people and this critically endangered species. It is a place where human absence has allowed a unique and terrifying ecosystem to thrive. Some islands are forbidden to protect the future of science. Surtsey Island near Iceland is a brand new piece of land formed by a volcanic eruption in the 1960s. It is one of the few places on Earth where scientists can watch life develop on new land from scratch without any human interference. Only a handful of researchers are allowed to step foot there, and they have to follow incredibly strict rules to ensure they do not accidentally bring a single seed or insect from the outside world. It is a living laboratory showing us how the world might have looked at the very beginning of time. Then there are the islands with dark man-made histories. Poveglia Island in Italy is often called the most haunted island in the world. During the bubonic plague, it was used as a quarantine zone where thousands of people were sent to spend their final days. Later, it became a mental asylum with a reputation for experimental treatments. Today, it sits abandoned and decaying in the Venetian lagoon, closed to tourists and filled with stories of restless spirits. Similarly, Gruinard Island in Scotland was once a site for biological warfare experiments during World War II. It was contaminated with anthrax spores for decades, making it a deadly no-go zone until a massive cleanup effort was completed in the late 80s. Even though it is technically safe, now the island remains largely uninhabited, a silent reminder of the dangers of human experimentation. Moving to the Pacific, we find Bikini Atoll, which became famous for all the wrong reasons. After the residents were displaced, the United States used the area for nuclear testing. The radioactive contamination was so severe that the island remains unsafe for permanent habitation today. It is a ghostly paradise where the water is crystal clear, but the history is heavy with radiation and displacement. Not far from there is the private island of Niihau in Hawaii. Known as the Forbidden Isle, it is privately owned, and access is restricted to preserve the native Hawaiian language and culture. It is one of the few places where time seems to have stood still away from the influence of modern tourism. Islands are not the only places that hold these eerie reputations. Some of the most haunted sites on Earth are found deep within ancient forests and crumbling ruins. Bangar Fort in India is a place of incredible architectural beauty, but it carries a curse that is taken very seriously. Local laws actually forbid anyone from entering the fort after sunset. Legend says that a sorcerer cursed the city, and since then no one who stays there overnight has ever returned. Whether you believe in curses or not, the heavy atmosphere and the absolute silence of the ruins are enough to make anyone feel uneasy. In Japan, the Aokigahara forest at the base of Mount Fuji carries a tragic weight. Known as the Sea of Trees, it is incredibly dense and quiet because the volcanic rock absorbs sound. This silence combined with its history has given it a reputation as a place of deep emotional sorrow. It is a reminder of how the energy of a location can be shaped by human history and how important it is to treat such places with respect and compassion. Then we have the famous ghost cities like the Chernobyl exclusion zone. After the nuclear disaster in 1986, an entire region was frozen in time. Abandoned classrooms with books still on the desks, and a rusted Ferris wheel that never carried passengers, create a scene that feels like the end of the world. It is a haunting place where nature is slowly reclaiming the concrete structures, proving that the world can move on without us. Many of these haunted locations are tied to the concept of lingering energy. The Stanley Hotel in Colorado is famous for inspiring the novel The Shining. Guests and staff have reported strange occurrences for decades, from phantom piano music to the sound of children playing in empty hallways. Similarly, the Tower of London has centuries of dark history involving imprisonments and executions. Many people believe that the intense emotions experienced in these places leave a permanent mark on the atmosphere. But why do we see ghosts or feel a sense of dread in these locations? Science offers some fascinating explanations. One theory involves infrasound, which is sound at a frequency so low that humans cannot hear it, but we can feel it. These vibrations can cause feelings of anxiety, chills, or even visual distortions that we interpret as ghosts. Another factor is magnetic fields. Some researchers believe that fluctuations in electromagnetic energy can affect the temporal lobe of the brain, making people feel like they are being watched. The human brain is also a master of pareidolia, which is our tendency to see familiar patterns like faces in random shapes and shadows. In an abandoned hospital or a dark prison, our brains are working overtime to make sense of the environment. If there is a draft or a strange creak in the floorboards, our imagination fills in the gaps with stories of the paranormal. Isolation also plays a huge role. When humans are cut off from society in remote places like Heard Island in the Antarctic, the lack of stimulation can lead to heightened anxiety and even hallucinations. Despite the fear, there is a growing trend of paranormal tourism. People are drawn to places like the Hoia Forest in Romania, known as the Bermuda Triangle of Europe, or the Eastern State Penitentiary in Pennsylvania. We seek out these thrills because they trigger a controlled rush of adrenaline and dopamine. It is the same reason we watch horror movies. We want to experience the edge of danger from a position of relative safety. Ultimately, the world is full of places that remind us of our own limitations. Whether it is a military zone restricted for national security or a sacred island protected by religious beliefs, these forbidden spots keep our sense of wonder alive. They remind us that despite our advanced technology, there are still corners of the earth that remain mysterious and untouched. They teach us about the resilience of nature, the weight of history, and the incredible power of the human mind to create legends. As we continue to explore and document our world, we find that most mysteries have a logical explanation rooted in geography, history, or science. Yet even when we know the facts, the stories remain. They are a way for us to pass down knowledge and keep the past alive. So the next time you hear a story about a haunted castle or a forbidden island, remember that the real magic lies in the mystery itself. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the unknown. If you enjoyed these stories and want to uncover more mysteries of our world, feel free to follow along for more. There is so much left to discover, and I look forward to sharing the next adventure with you. Stay curious and keep exploring the hidden corners of our fascinating planet. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
Thanks for watching. Like, comments, and share.